Mike.
Hey everyone, good to see you guys. Um, so the script here is very similar actually to what I use personally. So there's a lot of familiarity. I actually have a few variations that I do that are more kind of personalized. The whole idea with scripts is to embody it and then also personalize it so it's more like how you talk. So occasionally there's wording that I always recommend say things how you say them, but you also want to maintain some of the integrity of the way it's said, so that sometimes it's super important to say certain words in the way they're said. So um, anyway, so I'm just gonna jump right in. The Basically, I'm just gonna go through the script, and then I'm gonna just kind of give the reasons behind why we say some of the things that we say. Obviously, one of the first things I like saying to somebody, sometimes I'll wave or say hi or something, but I'll say, "Hey, are you familiar with Cutco?" Not do you know about Cutco, or have you heard of Cutco before? I've heard all kinds of stuff, but are you familiar with Cutco? Actually maintains the integrity of Cutco, without downplaying Cutco. So it's like you say, "Have you heard of Cutco before?" They're like, "No." Like like if they say that, they're already bringing down the value of Cutco. So, "Are you familiar with Cutco?" means, "Hey, you should know about this." And I'm about to tell you. So that very simple phrase, but it tells you where to take the interaction. If they're like, "Oh yeah, I have Cutco," you know that this is a previous customer and you're going a different route. Um, the if they're like, "No, I've never heard of it," then okay, I'm doing a new person pitch here. So let's see. So like, "No way, do you mind if I show you one of your favorite one of our knives real quick?" You're basically just getting permission to just do like a quick demo. So the real quick is kind of thrown in there just so that they don't feel like they're going to be there forever, even though you would like them to be there for a while. So sure, you can show me. Now they're giving you permission to do what you do. So, one of the important things that I've realized is that while you are doing a demo, you don't want it to be salesy. You don't want it to sound like a pitch. You want it to be a conversation that you're having with them, and you're just excited to show them something that's going to really benefit them. Um, so you're gonna go, "Great. Well, just so you know, Cutco has been around since the 1940s. Everything with a cutting edge you see here is 100% American made and rated the best buy by Consumer Digest. Are you familiar with Snap-on tools?" So you're getting throwing out a question, because if they know Snap-on tools, that's gonna create a lot of value really quickly. So we're like the Snap-on tools of knives. So basically, you're just saying some very extremely value centered things to get their attention. Um, as you're going for your knife, to let them cut. So and do the cutting demo. So you're basically from there, you're gonna go right into showing them how they cut. So let me show you how they cut, so you can see why our customers love their knives. Um, some of these wordings I don't really say, but that's great. Just kind of a preemptive, um, letting them know what you're doing, so they are very familiar with what's going on. Then you're gonna do the leather demo. Typically, this is where I'll interject a little line, and I'll ask them, "Hey, what kind of knives do you have at home?" So I want to know a little bit about what they have at home and what they've been using. Because if they've been using Wusthof or Hinkles, my pitch is going to be altered more towards them. If they're just saying, "Oh, I just got some junk at like Walmart or Target," now I know I have to build a lot of value for them to invest in a knife set that they've never paid that much money for. So I'll usually, if they say they got stuff at Walmart or Target, I'm going to show them the junk knife, which I have like a really cruddy knife that is like international Hinkles. I don't know if a lot of you know something about that, but um, I'll use that to cut, and then I'll show them Wusthof. I'll show them that look, there is knives that are better than that. So I'll show them Wusthof, and then from there, I'm gonna then show them Cutco. So you also have to be very. This is not going to be the topic of my talk, but um, very important that you cut leather right. Their reaction to cutting leather should be, wow. If it's not, you're not cutting leather right. So you either need a sharper Cutco knife, or you need to be more directive on how you show them to cut leather. And I will tell you this, I've done the same thing where I'll just kind of let them cut willy-nilly, and essentially they're not getting the same effect as if it just goes bam right through. So make sure you're very like specific on how you show them. I like to have them cut very close to the tip and then push towards me. So usually people will push more than they'll pull. So they'll just push, boom, goes right through. And you want to do this every single time, so that you're getting the same reaction. This is a knife most of our customers have before owning Cutco. You'll see that they usually find this at the department store like Dillard's or Macy's. I have no idea what Dillard's is, but I usually see like Macy's or Williams Sonoma for like the high quality knife, or I'll see like Target or Walmart for the junk knife. Um, so that's a let's see. Now I'll have them go ahead and use Cutco. Obviously, make sure they cut. Everybody kind of cuts with a different knife. But here I would recommend something around the steak knife. I tend to use like a table knife. I've also used a like slicer before, but usually I want to use something comparable in size to the knife that they're using in a junk knife. So um, again, there should be, wow, that's amazing. Okay, I know, right? They do cut. Do they cut better than the ones you have at home? So this is important because you're bringing up the pain of their having with their own knives. So when they see how amazing they actually cut, they're gonna um they're gonna start thinking, wow, I really could use some knives, because people just think knives are knives and they don't realize how really good knives cut. So once you show them a really good knife, now they're going, oh, maybe I should upgrade my knives. Excuse me. Now you're going to go into more value building. So now the knives are high quality and the double D edge. Show them the double D edge sheet. Like this holds their edge about 7 to 10 years before needing sharpening, while the smooth edges like these and point to the smooth edge about 3 to 5 years. The best part though is the warranty that comes with the knives. It's the forever guarantee for you, your children, and your grandchildren, and so on. Like I mentioned, Cutco is a high quality and it doesn't need sharpening for many years. However, we cover it whenever anything happens. So basically, you're going through a little bit about the guarantee. What this means, show them the guarantee page. If at some point down the road knives ever rust, chip, crack, break, corrode, or dull, send it back to Cutco whenever you need it, and they'll either resharpen, refurbish, or replace it with a brand new knife. I kind of say this a little bit in my own wording, but I usually will tell them something that I tend to see all the time. I'll say, look, if you drop this and you break a tip or you burn a handle, we're going to fix it or replace it. So I just try to make it real with the things that are typically happening based on, selling these for 10 years and seeing everybody's knives and what they typically do to them. Let's see. And so you just want them to know, look, while you are investing in a high quality set of knives, that if anything does happen, it's covered. So sharpening is included as well. I'll also refer to this on the sheet and I'll just point to it. This is the sharpening guarantee. We know every knife will dull eventually over time. When that happens for you in the years to come, just wrap it up, send it back to Cutco. Excuse me. And they'll sharpen, hone, and buff a brand new edge onto your knives like new. Let's see. The idea of Cutco is that they're not cheap, but instead of replacing your set over and over again through the years, you just have one quality set, use it every day, and whenever it has problems, just give Cutco a call and they'll take care of it for you. That's why we're the #1 sold brand in North America, even without even selling in stores. So essentially, you're going from talking a little bit about the guarantee to conceptually selling to them. So you're beginning the kind of conception of having Cutco and the idea that you have a set that you never have to replace. So, and then let me show you one of our best items, our shears. Do you ever use shears from time to time? Obviously, it's a loaded question. You know, most people do use shears. You're also tying them into some of the pieces that they're going to really like. And then you do the shears demo. Again, it's the wow factor. And you're also creating a lot of emotion between the leather cutting and then the penny cutting. You're creating a lot of emotion with the customer. So your basically the way we sell cut go is creating emotion, but also giving them like tangible reasons and making it all make sense intellectually. So you're combining intellectual and emotion. If you don't have that emotion, there's sometimes not enough reason for them to buy. So you just want them to be really excited about it. Do you then you're gonna ask, hey, do you need any more cutting, or would you like to look at some of the sets and the options we have here today at the show? What I found is a lot of times at this point they're even asking. So they might ask you or you can ask them, but this gives you a way to direct it to showing them what comes in some of the sets and stuff. And they say, great, now just so you know, which are magic words if you don't know that. Just so you know, you can say just so you know and almost say anything you want. So that's also a great way to upsell. Um, just so you know, we sell Cutco in sets or pieces. Most of our customers usually want a set since they're much better value and you can replace all the old knives at the house. And if you don't like any of those, let me know and I can show you something smaller if needed. So this is a lot of again, you're selling the concept of having one set that they'll never have to replace. Sounds good. What do you have? So you're going to start going through what you have. Um, our three most popular sets we have are going to be these over here. Point at each of the set as you mention it. So our first set is the basic set, which has everything you see here in the homemaker section. So I usually will show them the three sets and then I'll show them kind of at this point, you need to have it make sense and be very, very clear on what comes in the sets because this clarity will help them to make it easier for them to buy something. The confused minds don't buy. So right here is where you're making things very clear what comes in the sets. This is where they're making the decision of what they need. So obviously in a pitch, you want to go through and say these things, but you also want to be listening. One of the most important parts of the pitch is listening to them and what they want and what their needs are. So You can also reframe that, but you also have to acknowledge what they need so they don't feel that you're not hearing them and listening to them. So our three most popular sets we have are going to be these over here. Point at each of them. You go through the homemaker, briefly describe the homemaker names and uses. I usually go through this pretty quickly. So sometimes I've heard people pitch and they're just rambling, like just like a mad race to get through the pitch. This is one part where you can speed up a little bit, going through the names and uses. Other parts you want to slow down. The guarantee, the super important things, you want to be much slower when you go through the guarantee and everything so that it's very clear. But you can go through the names and uses fairly quick, as long as it's understandable. This is one of your standard sets for all the basic necessities. It'll come with a paring knife, utility knife, chopping knife, bread knife, meat slicing knives, large and small, and a few things along the way, along with 8 table or steak knives. So you're basically going through the set, just letting him know what's in it. Um, when I go through the names and uses, I usually say one or two things, with the exception of there's a couple knives, I'll say a couple more uses, but I don't. You you never want to give the impression that one knife does everything. I mean, have you ever had that customer that goes, "Do you have one knife that does it all?" Like, no, we don't make that knife. Like, we make something close to it, but there's no knife that's supposed to made to do everything. So, I mean, you're not going to take a like chef knife and peel with it, even though you might be able to. It's not going to be beneficial to do that. Let's see. The second set we have here is our family set. This is designed for the family that cooks multiple times a week. Excuse me. It has everything in the basic set, plus our 4 extra customer requested knives pieces, including the shears. Lay out the 3 Siggy knives, shears on the board in front of them. I will be very clear when I describe the signature set. I also include the way I describe it after showing them basically what's in it. I will also say this is my most recommended set. At the very least, I feel like everyone should have a signature set or something bigger. People that have the homemaker set will eventually add those 4 pieces and will need to upgrade later. So that's why I always recommend my most recommended set. If they insist on something smaller or feel like they need it, it feels like too much to them, you can always get a homemaker set. But the Petite Santoku mini chopper for all your small chopping, like garlic, cilantro, parsley, onions, bell peppers, hearty slicer for barbecue knife, ribs, tri-tip, salami, pepperoni, and sausages, cheese, and the non-stick knife, cheese, potatoes, zucchini, and cucumbers, and the holes keep it from sticking to the blade. A lot of you who have worked with me know I still cut food. I usually only cut potatoes, and I will cut it with the cheese knife because again, I'm trying to get that wow factor, and I want them to at least be tied in to getting a signature set as well. So I feel like once you do the cheese knife demo, it's like done deal. Like they're definitely getting something. But so I always specify the 4 customer favorites. Um, and the way I also describe is, hey, like if like these are the pieces you're gonna add at least eventually or get to begin with. So and then I'll go through the ultimate names and uses. The third set we have is our complete set, and this is the biggest and best set Cutco makes. It has everything I've shown you, plus some of our most popular specialty pieces. Demo the 5 knives, heavy duty, the cleaver, heavy duty sectioning, designed to go through bones and meats. My script cuts off there, Denise, but
Feel free to add in your little sprinkles here and there because, like you said at the beginning, this is meant to be like a foundation, and you embody your own personality and your own verbiage typically at some
right.
point.
Yeah, typically I'm gonna go look, Ultimate is our biggest and best set. So um I want them to know that, like, look, this is our best set because it has everything. I tell them about the cleaver. Um, I don't put a lot of emphasis on the cleaver unless they really like it. But I'm gonna put emphasis on the vegetable knife. I say it has the widest transfer surface, so you can chop, scoop, go right to your pot or pan. You have the 4-inch paring knife for like your apples and mangoes. Sometimes you're using the little paring knife and it's just not big enough. So then all that's why you're gonna want the 4-inch paring knife. You also have the raw meats knife. I don't really say boning knife that much because boning knife, nobody really does deboning that much anymore. So I say the raw meats knife. This is for trimming fat off filleting chicken. You ever go to Costco and you get those really thick chicken breasts? And they go, yeah, almost every time. So now, boom, I know they're a Costco shopper. I know they're okay with spending three, four, $500 a pop, and it's told me something else about them as well. And I say, okay, so you take that raw meats knife and you fillet it in half, so a little better on portion control, or you can slice it up for strips or pieces. So that's how I'll explain that. I'll also go, you got the big brother here, you got the 7-inch Santoku, another great chopping knife. Excuse me. Um, and then so at that point, I'll also show them it's going to come with a full set of 12 steak knives. I have all my sets as they sell them now with the steak knives in the signature and the ultimate. So I show them like that. Um, if they don't, I usually will find out at some point, do you like the bigger steak knives or the littler ones? So I know which ones. I'll also let them know that the basic set doesn't come with the bigger steak knives. You can get it with the bigger steak knives, they just won't come in the block. So that usually has some kind of dichotomy about whether they're going to do the basic or the signature, because that's the smallest block that will hold them in the front. So I see Isaac raising his hand.
Yeah, so I have a question. I know some people don't even like talking about the table knives because they only sell the steak knives. But I kind of like showing both options. So when do you think is the best point to ask them, like if they like the smaller table knives or the bigger steak knives? Because whenever I ask it, it's like kind of awkward.
Um, sometimes it kind of comes up organically, and I like that, and I'll just kind of throw that in. Um, if at the very least, when we're covering what set they like the most, I'm usually finding out before too long what set they're interested in. So I said, between the three sets that you've seen, which do you feel most fits what you do? Or would be you can change the wording there, but I'm finding out what set they're most interested in. From there, I'm gonna go to that set and I'm gonna reaffirm what comes in it. I'm gonna say, if they're picking the signature, which a lot of people will, I'm gonna say, hey, this will come with either these table knives or these steak knives, and which one do you like best? And then that's when they're gonna tell me, oh yeah, the big ones. Some of them will go, you know what, these little ones are fine. Okay, cool. Like, maybe they're just not like eating meat a lot. So a lot of those people will pick the smaller ones because they don't really need a steak knife, and they feel like the table knife will still cut smaller stuff.
Okay,
So,
yeah, perfect.
yeah,
Thank you.
no problem. But I'm trying to ask as many questions as I can to clarify it, not only in my mind, but especially in their mind, you know, what they're most tied into. So as I go through like my scripting, I want it to be more like an organic conversation, and that way they feel more heard and understood. Sometimes people just want to be understood, and then they'll just take your recommendation. So even if they don't get, sometimes people will say, I just want some pieces, but you might still sell them a set. But if you just listen to them, okay, why would you say that? What, you know, oh, we're just trying to be a minimalist, you know? Okay, great. Like, let me show you what these do. And then you're going to tie them into probably a lot more pieces than they thought they're going to need. So, hey, I would just recommend this set. You know, it's going to handle everything you need. And then from there, if they're a minimalist, you're going to say, look, you have one set that does all the stuff you want to do. So, you know, you're handling some of that kind of stuff.
Perfect.
Um, you have anything else, Denise, that again, my script cuts off after the ultimate names and uses, but usually by then I already found out like what set they're most interested in. I'm gonna show them the prices. So this is one of the things I learned from Brandon Brown is that sometimes I've already showed the price. I might have already showed the price. Sometimes they're asking about the price after they cut leather. So when they do, I'll actually open my specials book. I'll show them the three sets. I'll kind of confirm what the three sets come with. And then I'll show them, hey, like that price is already marinating. I feel like it's like marinating and they have to get used to that being the price. So I can come back and deal with more of that later, but I want them to see, I also want to see their reaction. Because if they're just like, oh man, we couldn't fit that in the budget, you know, or we can never afford these or whatever. I'm gonna say, great, like, um, you know, I might get really real with them. Hey, what can you afford? What, you know, I'll also preface that everything comes with 5 easy payments, no interest, no credit check. You know, it just makes it a lot easier to fit in the budget. So I'm gonna let them know that there are options. Sometimes people will say no because they don't know about the 5 pay. So that obviously part of the script. So I'm basically gonna ask them, hey, like, you know, show them the set they want, the price that they want, and then I'm gonna sweeten it probably after that. So depending on what they say, you guys went through objection handling earlier and dropping down, you know, once you find out exactly what they want, um, if that's something they're giving you pullback, or then you can just drop down at that point or give them a better deal. I rarely give a better deal, but I will sweeten it by throwing in stuff for free. The only time I'll give them a better deal is I'll sometimes like a signature or an ultimate set instead of doing a discounted signature or ultimate, because steak knives are horrible to give for free and it hurts me, it hurts my heart. So I'm just like, no, I'm just not going to do that. So instead, I will actually charge myself either $100, $150, sometimes $200 for like an ultimate or something. I'll charge myself for that. And so they'll still get the discount without affecting my CPO. But only recommend that if you're hitting bonus every month. Otherwise, you just give them a deal.
All right. Well, thanks, Mike. I appreciate you sharing your insights on the script. Anybody have any questions? Isaac?
I'm always confused how the charge to rep works because I've always just like stayed clear away from it. But like how does it work?
It just comes out of your next commission.
Yeah, it's just basically at the end of the transaction, it'll have a little thing adjustment. The adjustment is what you're gonna pay.
Is there like a max or a minimum or something?
Yes, and I can't tell you exactly what that is. There might be a certain percentage of it. I just know that like on Ultimate, you can probably go up to like 250, which I don't necessarily recommend, but I know you can do 250, maybe 300 on a signature. It's usually like 100 to 150. You could probably go up a little higher than that, but as a rule, I just try not to go too high on that.
Mhm.
So I just know that like look what they're buying is I'm making a good fair amount on it, and I just don't want to destroy the CPO on it.
Yeah.
So
Sometimes that's a really good option if you find that they're not super motivated by free stuff and they would just rather save the money.
Yeah, awesome.
yeah, you usually just want to do it one way or the other. Occasionally, if I really, really need to, and I feel like they just need some extra coaxing, I might do both. So I might be giving them some stuff for free and then also just charging myself for a little bit. But you want to tell them that's what you're doing as well. So they know that like, whoa, this guy's going like above and beyond to hook me up.
Like this is something you're doing for them. It's not something Cutco's doing for them.
Right.
Right? It's
Right.
not like Cutco was like, "Oh, this, is included with your free this is your free gift for getting this set today." No, you're the one that's choosing to give them as that for free. You have the option not to, right?
Right.
So it's from you, right? So
Right.
you really, really emphasize that like whenever I give something free, I say, I'm gonna buy you this can opener,
Hmm.
right? So they know I'm the one buying it for them. It's not Cutco that's throwing it in.
Right. Yeah, that's a great point. So
Awesome. Any other questions for Mike? All right. Awesome. Well, thank you, Mike, for your time. We appreciate having you and hope you have a good night.
you too. Thanks, Denise. Thanks for having
Yeah.
me.
Thank you so
Good
much,
to see
Mike.
you guys at Net.